Welcome, gentle listener, to the world of the sleepy historian. Tonight, we are going to drift together into the quiet, shadowed halls of medieval universities, exploring what students long ago truly learned, and how their days were filled with both study and ritual. If you have found comfort in boring history for sleep, or if you are among those who enjoy falling asleep to boring history, then you are in the right place. Here, bedtime relaxation and soft storytelling are our guiding lights, and soft-spoken history documentary is the gentle rhythm that will carry you into a restful evening. Imagine yourself in a dimly lit chamber, candles flickering softly, parchment spread before you, and the murmur of scholars discussing Latin grammar and the subtleties of philosophy floating like a faint, soothing wind. It is a space removed from the clamor of modern life, where calm bedtime storytelling meets centuries of knowledge, and where relaxing history to fall asleep can guide your mind gently towards sleep. Whether you're a fan of Roman history, archaeology, or calm narration, tonight you will find a companion in these quiet explorations. In this journey, we will move slowly, allowing each detail to linger, like the soft echo of footsteps in an empty cloister. You will notice the rhythm of their lives, the daily routines, the rigorous yet oddly comforting patterns of learning, prayer, and contemplation. We will speak not of dramatic battles or heroic tales, but of the real, tangible experiences of students who lived and breathed in these ancient academic worlds. If this kind of storytelling brings you a sense of peace, feel free to like the video and subscribe, but only if it genuinely soothes you. And please, share in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is. There's something strangely comforting about knowing others are quietly drifting towards slumber, guided by the same slow, deliberate words. So dim the lights, settle in your bed, feel the soft weight of the blankets, and let the whispers of the past unfold. Let the candlelight dance across the walls of your imagination, and together we will begin to uncover what medieval students really learned at university. Tonight, history is soft, history is gentle, and history is yours to drift along with. Imagine the soft hush of a medieval morning as the first light stretches lazily across the stone walls of a university hall. The air is cool, thick with the faint scent of smoke from the hearths that have been burning through the night. You can almost hear the distant calls of the town stirring, the slow clatter of carts along cobblestones, and the muted footsteps of students as they make their way through the narrow corridors toward the morning assembly. Life at a medieval university was governed by rhythm and repetition, the day divided into cycles of learning, contemplation, and sustenance. Students would rise with the first light, often before dawn, and attend early prayers in the chapel. The sound of the bell would echo through the cloisters, a gentle yet insistent reminder that the day had begun. Imagine yourself joining them in this quiet ritual, the chill of the morning air brushing your face as you step onto the stone floors, feeling the weight of your robe and the rough texture of wool against your skin. Breakfast was a modest affair, a simple bread or porridge, sometimes accompanied by thin ale or watered wine, as water was not always considered safe to drink. Students ate quickly but quietly, mindful of the time, for the lessons would soon begin. The routine demanded discipline, and in its gentle insistence, it created a comforting predictability. Each day followed a familiar pattern. Attend lectures, read or copy texts, engage in disputations, and occasionally step outside into the courtyard to breathe the fresh air or watch the slow movements of nature. Lecture halls themselves were humble spaces, narrow and echoing with the murmurs of attentive students. Wooden benches lined a room, worn smooth by the years of use, and the scent of parchment and ink lingered like a delicate perfume. Professors, often themselves still young men, would speak in measured tones, reading from Latin texts or explaining the nuances of philosophy, logic, or theology. Imagine yourself seated among them, the soft rustle of turning pages accompanying the low hum of concentration. The instruction was methodical, almost meditative, and every word carried the weight of centuries of thought. Between lessons, students engaged in private study, copying manuscripts by hand under the flickering light of candles or oil lamps. Each stroke of the quill was deliberate, each line carefully formed, creating a rhythm that was both painstaking and strangely soothing. You might feel the texture of the rough parchment beneath your fingertips, the slight stickiness of ink on your skin, and the faint warmth of the lamp beside you. In these moments, the outside world seemed to vanish, replaced by a timeless quietude, where knowledge was both pursuit and companion. Meals punctuated the day, often simple and repetitive, yet providing small comforts. A bowl of pottage thick with grains and herbs, a slice of bread with cheese, perhaps a piece of fruit when available. These moments were social, offering opportunities for gentle conversation, laughter that was soft and measured, and the occasional debate about philosophical questions or the meaning of text just read. The dining hall, with its long wooden tables, echoed with a calm energy, the murmur of voices blending with the creak of chairs and the clatter of simple utensils. Afternoons were sometimes reserved for exercises in rhetoric or logic, where students would practice constructing arguments, exploring questions both profound and mundane. You can imagine the slow cadence of these sessions, each question posed carefully, each response considered, the students' minds gently stretched by the exercise, yet always within a framework that encouraged patience and reflection. Some would retreat to the cloistered gardens to meditate, the soft rustle of leaves overhead, the occasional bird call, and the distant murmur of a fountain creating a serene auditory backdrop. Evenings brought a winding down, a return to quieter pursuits. Students might read devotional texts, reflect on lessons learned, or simply enjoy the companionship of peers in low-voice conversation. Candles flickered in the dim light, shadows playing across stone walls and wooden beams. Outside, the town's noises faded into the night, leaving only the subtle creaks and sighs of the ancient building. Imagine yourself here, the day's tasks complete, the rhythm of the university settling into your bones, and a gentle sense of calm enveloping you. The life of a medieval student was not easy, yet there was a peculiar tranquility in its regularity. Each day repeated familiar patterns: the bell, the lessons, the copying of texts, the simple meals, the quiet hours of reflection. Within these rhythms, students discovered small joys and comforts, a sense of purpose, and a steady accumulation of knowledge. It was a life shaped not by urgency or excitement, but by patience, attention, and the quiet pleasures of learning. And as night approached, the cloisters emptied, the lamps were extinguished, and the buildings were left in the soft, peaceful darkness that encouraged dreams to drift in gently, carrying with them the images, sounds, and rhythms of a day spent in quiet study. In this gentle, deliberate world, the life of a medieval student reveals itself not through grand events or dramatic stories, but through the soothing repetition of daily routines. You can almost feel the rhythm of their lives, the small details that, together, create a sense of continuity and calm. Imagine the scent of old parchment, the warmth of the hearth, the soft murmur of voices, and the quiet satisfaction of work done with care and attention. It is a world far removed from the hurry and noise of today, yet one that offers a kind of serenity that continues to resonate, even across the centuries. As the morning routines gradually yield to the steady rhythm of study, the academic life of a medieval student unfolds with quiet dedication. Imagine the soft echo of footsteps on worn stone floors as scholars make their way to classrooms and lecture halls. Each hall, though simple in its architecture, is steeped in centuries of learning, the walls lined with shelves of manuscripts, their spines faded, their pages faintly scented with age and ink. Here, students immerse themselves in the subjects that defined medieval scholarship. At the heart of their learning were the liberal arts, divided into the trivium and quadrivium. In the trivium, students explored grammar, rhetoric, and logic. Grammar was not merely a collection of rules. It was the key to understanding and expressing thought. Imagine tracing the curves of Latin letters with a quill, feeling the slight roughness of parchment under your fingers as you copy and recite texts aloud in a calm, measured rhythm. Rhetoric taught them how to structure words persuasively yet subtly, while logic invited them into slow, meditative exercises of reasoning, tracing each argument with care and reflection. These subjects were not learned hastily. Each lesson demanded patience, repetition, and a gentle unfolding of comprehension, much like the soft bloom of morning light across a cloister courtyard. Beyond the trivium, the quadrivium offered studies in arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. These subjects were approached with the same deliberate pace, each lesson framed as an exploration of order, proportion, and harmony. Imagine the soft scratch of a stylus on wax tablets as a student works through arithmetic problems, or the careful tracing of geometric figures with compasses and straight edges. Music, too, was studied not merely for performance, but as a reflection of cosmic order, the gentle progression of tones echoing the harmony of the universe itself. And astronomy, the study of the heavens, connected the young scholar to rhythms far beyond the walls of the university, the movement of stars and planets, a subtle reminder of the wider world and its patient unfolding. Students often engaged in disputations, structured debates designed to sharpen both reasoning and speaking. These debates were slow and deliberate, conducted with careful attention to etiquette and logic. Picture a student standing, voice calm and steady, presenting a point while others listen, nod, and then respond with equal poise. The process was not hurried. It was almost meditative, each question and answer a gentle exercise of the mind, allowing both participants and observers to follow the argument with care and reflection. The atmosphere was one of thoughtful engagement rather than fervent competition, the soft cadence of words creating a rhythm that could be as soothing as it was instructive. Outside of formal lessons, much of a student's time was devoted to private study, transcription, and reflection. Manuscript copying was a repetitive and absorbing task, each stroke of the quill reinforcing concentration and patience. The faint smell of ink, the texture of parchment, and the soft lamplight together created an immersive sensory experience. Even when errors were made, correction was slow and deliberate, and the act of rectifying mistakes became part of the calming rhythm of scholarly life. Imagine yourself in this quiet space, the world outside fading, leaving only the soft whispers of thought, the gentle scratch of quills, and the soft flutter of turning pages. The student's life also included a connection to the broader community. Scholars often attended lectures given by visiting masters or participated in communal readings of important texts. These gatherings were measured, quiet, and reflective, more like a shared meditation than a bustling classroom. The murmur of voices was low, the steps measured, and the focus entirely on the slow, careful absorption of knowledge. Outside the lecture halls, students might stroll through cloistered gardens or along the riverbank, reflecting on what they had learned, feeling the sun on their faces, or listening to the soft murmur of flowing water. These walks offered both physical and mental refreshment, a gentle reminder that study existed within the larger rhythm of life. Occasionally, students explored specialized subjects depending on their intended vocation or scholarly interests. Medicine, law, and theology were among the more advanced pursuits, each approached with the same deliberate care. Reading ancient medical texts, tracing the reasoning behind remedies, or contemplating ethical questions in law and theology was a slow and absorbing endeavor. Imagine yourself sitting quietly in a sunlit corner, absorbing knowledge that spans generations, the stillness of the room only punctuated by the occasional turning of a page or the gentle scratching of quills across parchment. Through these rhythms, the life of a medieval student was defined less by excitement and more by the gentle accumulation of understanding. Each day offered opportunities for quiet reflection, structured reasoning, and a meditative repetition of learning. The senses were engaged in subtle ways. The scent of ink, the smooth texture of parchment, the soft glow of lamplight, creating an environment that, though disciplined, was serene and immersive. And as the day progressed toward evening, this careful and measured life began to settle into a slower pace, preparing the student for quiet reflection and the soft descent into rest. In this segment of their life, the seemingly mundane, copying texts, listening to lectures, walking in cloistered gardens, becomes rich with sensory detail and subtle rhythm. The world is orderly, calm, and deliberate, offering a soothing immersion into a life built on knowledge, patience, and quiet contemplation. Imagine yourself here, tracing the curves of letters, listening to the measured discussion of ideas, and feeling the gentle cadence of a day spent in study, where learning itself becomes a lullaby and knowledge a gentle companion on the path toward evening rest. As the day at a medieval university gently unfolds into its later hours, the rhythms of study gradually give way to moments of social interaction, communal meals, and quiet reflection. Imagine yourself walking through the stone corridors toward the dining hall, the soft echo of footsteps blending with distant murmurs of conversation. The life of a student was not solely defined by learning. It was equally shaped by the subtle interactions that occurred in these shared spaces, where companionship and camaraderie offered comfort and balance to the rigorous intellectual demands. The dining hall was a place of simple yet meaningful routines. Long wooden tables stretched across the space, worn smooth by generations of scholars. Candles flickered along the edges, casting gentle shadows that danced across the walls and ceiling beams. The aroma of pottage, bread, and occasionally roasted meat mingled with the faint scent of herbs, creating an atmosphere both nourishing and familiar. Imagine the slow clatter of wooden utensils against bowls, the soft murmur of conversation, and the occasional burst of restrained laughter, all blending into a gentle cadence that underscored the social rhythm of the day. Meals were not indulgent, but they were sufficient to sustain both body and mind. Bread, cheese, and simple grains provided nourishment, while soups and pottages added variety and warmth. Occasionally, a student might enjoy a modest portion of fruit or lightly flavored ale, a subtle treat within the otherwise plain fare. There is a quiet dignity in this simplicity, a sense that sustenance, like knowledge, was a steady companion rather than a source of excitement. Picture yourself at the table, hands wrapped around a warm bowl, listening to the soft, measured voices around you, and feeling a gentle contentment settle in with the rhythm of communal eating. Social interaction extended beyond meals. Students often gathered in small groups to discuss texts, exchange ideas, or prepare for upcoming disputations. These conversations were calm, measured, and respectful, providing an opportunity for mental stimulation within a gentle, supportive environment. You can imagine a circle of students seated in a sunlit cloister, soft beams of light illuminating thoughtful faces as ideas are shared in careful, deliberate words. Here, the focus is not on competition, but on shared exploration, where each participant contributes to the slow unfolding of understanding. Evenings were frequently spent in quiet reflection. Many students retreated to the cloisters or small private chambers to read devotional texts, meditate, or review lessons from the day. The soft flicker of candlelight illuminated parchment and books, creating pools of warmth in the otherwise dim rooms. Imagine yourself alone with your thoughts, the faint scent of old parchment mingling with the subtle fragrance of nearby herbs, the distant murmur of the town slowly fading into night. This quietude encouraged contemplation, allowing students to internalize knowledge, consider ethical questions, and ponder the wider world beyond the university walls. Music and chanting occasionally filled these evening hours. Gregorian chants, simple melodies sung in unison, reverberated softly through stone halls and chapels. The gentle rise and fall of voices, measured and calm, acted as both study aid and meditative practice. Imagine standing in the shadowed arches of a chapel, hearing the echo of harmonious tones, feeling them wrap around you like a comforting blanket. These soft sounds, combined with the tactile and olfactory textures of candlelight, parchment, and worn wooden benches, created an environment that nurtured both mind and spirit. While the academic day was demanding, it was also punctuated with moments of quiet pleasure. Students observed the natural world, walked along gardens, and sometimes engaged in simple recreation. The slow progress of seasons brought subtle changes. The delicate emergence of spring flowers, the soft rustle of autumn leaves, the crisp chill of early winter mornings. These experiences, though seemingly mundane, provided grounding, a reminder of life's steady continuity amid the cycles of study and reflection. Picture yourself strolling along a shaded path, the muted sounds of nature creating a gentle soundtrack to the meditative rhythm of the day. By nightfall, the halls grew still. Students returned to private chambers, preparing for rest and allowing the mind to drift slowly away from the rigors of study. The soft glow of extinguished lamps left only gentle shadows, the air carrying faint traces of ink, parchment, and wood smoke. Imagine lying down in your simple bed, the steady cadence of the day echoing softly in your mind. The communal meals, the careful copying of texts, the measured debates, the serene walks, and the soft harmonies of evening chant. Each of these elements, small and deliberate, contributes to a sense of calm, order, and continuity. In this part of their lives, students experience the quiet balance of intellect and companionship, of study and subtle pleasure. Their days were neither hurried nor sensational, yet they were rich with rhythm, texture, and a gentle immersion in the world around them. Imagine the soft scent of the library mingling with the cool air of the cloisters, the tactile feeling of parchment and worn wood, the quiet conversations and chants, all blending into a soothing, measured cadence. Here, the life of a medieval student unfolds like a gentle lullaby, inviting both reflection and rest, and guiding the mind toward a slow, peaceful descent into evening tranquility. Tonight, we step into the life of one particular medieval scholar, a student whose days were structured yet quietly profound, whose curiosity and dedication shaped a gentle rhythm that guided both body and mind. Imagine yourself waking in a narrow, stone-walled chamber, the faint gray light of dawn slipping through small, latticed windows. The air is cool, carrying the subtle aroma of smoke from the hearth and the faint scent of straw bedding. Our scholar rises slowly, stretching beneath the coarse but comforting folds of a woolen blanket, feeling the solid rhythm of the day beginning once more. Morning begins, as always, with prayer and meditation. The soft tolling of a nearby bell calls the scholar to the chapel, where he joins fellow students in low-voiced chants. The words, ancient and measured, echo gently against the stone walls, wrapping the space in a calm, enveloping sound. Imagine yourself following him, the soles of your shoes silent against the smooth stone floor, the faint chill of the air brushing your cheeks, and the quiet sense of order settling over your mind. This morning ritual is not hurried or dramatic. It is an intentional immersion into a contemplative space, a pause before the study of text begins. Breakfast is modest but sufficient. A slice of coarse bread, a small bowl of porridge, and occasionally a thin cup of ale or watered wine provide sustenance. The scholar eats slowly, mindful of the need to conserve energy for the long hours ahead, savoring the warmth of food against the morning chill. Around him, fellow students speak quietly, exchanging observations or brief reflections on lessons previously studied. The atmosphere is calm, almost meditative, the gentle clatter of utensils blending with hushed conversation. Imagine yourself in this hall, feeling both the cool stone beneath your feet and the warmth radiating from the hearth, the air filled with the comforting, familiar smells of simple sustenance. After breakfast, the scholar moves toward his first lecture, a space filled with the muted energy of focused attention. Wooden benches line the hall, worn smooth by years of use, and manuscripts rest on the desks, their pages faintly yellowed. The professor speaks in measured Latin, explaining a passage from Aristotle or the subtleties of logic. The scholar follows each word with concentration, occasionally glancing down to copy passages in his own hand. Picture the smooth scratch of quill against parchment, the faint smell of ink and old paper, and the subtle interplay of light and shadow across the room, creating a tranquil, immersive environment for learning. Midday brings a short pause, often spent in quiet reflection or private study. The scholar wanders to the cloister, where the soft rustle of leaves and the gentle trickle of a fountain provide a soothing backdrop. Here, he reviews notes, contemplates philosophical questions, and lets his mind wander gently over the material absorbed in the morning lectures. Imagine yourself alongside him, the cool air brushing your skin, the scent of damp earth mingling with the faint aroma of herbs from the garden, and the soft murmur of water and birdsong offering a calm, meditative accompaniment to intellectual reflection. Lunch is similar in simplicity to breakfast, yet provides a comforting rhythm to the day. The scholar sits among peers, quietly eating bread, cheese, and pottage, listening to soft exchanges of ideas or the occasional muted laughter. These communal moments offer balance, a gentle counterpoint to the structured solitude of study. Picture the soft glow of sunlight filtering through narrow windows, illuminating worn wooden tables, parchment-strewn benches, and thoughtful faces, creating a warm, calm atmosphere that supports both nourishment and gentle conversation. Afternoons are dedicated to advanced study and preparation for disputations. The scholar may focus on theology, law, or natural philosophy, consulting texts carefully copied from earlier sources. Each page, each passage, invites slow consideration. Imagine turning vellum pages by candlelight, feeling the subtle texture beneath your fingers, the faint smell of ink rising from letters patiently formed. Occasionally, the scholar pauses to observe the natural world, watching the shifting light across the courtyard, noting the rhythm of the day and the quiet movements of students passing by. Evening approaches, bringing with it the softening of the day's pace. The scholar joins the chapel once more, attending Vespers, listening to low chants echo through stone arches, and reflecting on the day's learning. Afterward, a modest supper provides closure to the day, the warmth of food, the soft murmur of conversation, and the gentle glow of candlelight creating a calm sanctuary from the outside world. Imagine walking back to your chamber, settling in a straw bedding, the faint scent of ink and wood lingering, and feeling the gentle weight of accomplishment and reflection as the day comes to a close. In this gentle rhythm, the scholar's life is neither hurried nor dramatic, yet it is rich with quiet depth. Every action, from rising in the morning to resting at night, contributes to a measured cadence of learning, reflection, and calm companionship. You can almost feel the soft texture of parchment, the faint warmth of candlelight, and the serene hush of cloisters and lecture halls. It is a life defined by patience, careful thought, and the slow, immersive pursuit of knowledge, a world far removed from modern bustle, yet intimately accessible to the mind and imagination. The Scholar's Day offers a meditation on the beauty of structured life, the subtle satisfaction of mental engagement, and the calming comfort of predictable, gentle routines. Imagine yourself following these steps, hour by hour, the rhythm of study, reflection, and quiet social interaction guiding you toward a deep, restful evening. The past, though distant, invites you to settle into its gentle flow, offering the serenity and measured pace that can soothe the mind and prepare it for the calm descent into sleep. As the days progress in the life of a medieval scholar, the rhythm of study and reflection continues, yet subtle challenges arise, gently shaping both intellect and character. Imagine yourself walking alongside our scholar through narrow corridors lined with cold stone walls. The morning chill brushes against your skin as the air carries the faint scent of wood smoke and ink. Life at the university was not without its difficulties, though they were experienced in quiet, often understated ways, offering opportunities for perseverance and gentle triumph. One of the scholar's challenges was the rigorous memorization required in the study of texts. Latin, the language of instruction, demanded careful attention, the subtle difference of endings and pronunciation carrying significant meaning. Imagine the scholar tracing letters with his quill, reading passages aloud, repeating them softly to himself until the words embedded themselves in memory. This exercise, though demanding, became almost meditative, the rhythm of repetition and careful articulation providing a soothing cadence. With each passage mastered, a quiet sense of accomplishment unfolded, small but profoundly satisfying. The study of philosophy and logic offered another layer of mental challenge. Scholars explored questions that were abstract and intricate, considering the nature of being, morality, and the cosmos. Imagine a circular courtyard where the scholar sits on a stone bench, parchment in hand, pondering a problem posed in a lecture. The wind moves softly through the arches, rustling leaves and carrying distant bird calls. Each problem requires patience, reflection, and the willingness to sit with uncertainty. The triumph comes not from rapid solution, but from the slow, measured development of understanding, the gentle satisfaction of a mind gradually unfolding its own reasoning. In addition to intellectual challenges, social dynamics could pose subtle tests. Students came from diverse backgrounds, some wealthy and privileged, others humble and self-reliant. Differences in access to materials, tutors, or even the simple comforts of daily life shaped interactions in quiet, sometimes tense ways. Yet in this environment, the scholar learns diplomacy, tact, and humility. Imagine him navigating a discussion over the interpretation of a text, listening attentively, weighing each response, and offering insights with calm clarity. These exchanges, though minor, help cultivate patience and social intelligence, weaving a soft texture of interpersonal growth alongside academic achievement. Physical conditions also demanded endurance. Stone halls could be drafty, candles provided limited illumination, and the comforts of modern heating and lighting were absent. The scholar learns to rise early despite cold mornings, to persevere in copying texts by flickering candlelight, and to adjust to modest meals and austere accommodations. Imagine wrapping a course will cloak tightly around your shoulders, feeling the faint warmth of a hearth, and noticing the gentle hush of early evening settling over the university. In these small ways, resilience is cultivated, not through drama or hardship, but through subtle, measured engagement with the demands of daily life. Occasionally, moments of triumph emerge quietly yet profoundly. A particularly challenging text is mastered, a disputation is completed successfully, or a complex philosophical concept is understood fully for the first time. These triumphs are not loud or celebrated with fanfare. They are internal, intimate, and deeply satisfying. Picture the scholar pausing after a long session of study, setting down his quill, feeling a gentle weight lift as understanding dawns, a small smile of quiet contentment on his lips. It is in these gentle achievements, rather than dramatic victories, that the scholar experiences fulfillment and motivation to continue. Religious and ethical reflection also offered opportunities for gentle triumph. Daily prayers, readings of scripture, and contemplative walks in cloisters provided both moral guidance and meditative calm. Imagine walking with the scholar under the soft shadows of arched stone corridors, the faint fragrance of incense lingering, hearing the distant murmur of voices in a chapel, and feeling the stillness wrap around you. These moments offer respite from academic demands, allowing the mind and body to realign with quiet purpose. By evening, the scholar may engage in a reflective review of the day's learning, jotting notes, copying passages, or preparing for the next day. The candlelight flickers gently, casting warm shadows on the walls and parchment, while outside, the world grows still and quiet. Imagine the scholar reclining briefly, feeling the calm of accomplishment and the subtle satisfaction of a day lived with deliberate intention. These small, quiet triumphs, intellectual, social, and moral, combine to create a rich tapestry of experience, measured and immersive, offering both growth and tranquility. In this gentle balance of challenge and reward, the life of a medieval scholar reveals itself as a carefully orchestrated rhythm, blending mental exercise, social engagement, and reflective practice. The triumphs are small but meaningful, the challenges subtle but instructive. Imagine yourself here, following each step of the day, feeling the soft textures, the flickering light, the quiet murmurs of fellow students, and the calm unfolding of knowledge and reflection. In these soft, deliberate movements, the scholar's life becomes a lullaby for the mind, a serene narrative that encourages relaxation and mental rest, inviting your own thoughts to drift toward calm reflection and gentle slumber. As the scholar's years at the medieval university unfold, a sense of continuity and purpose begins to take shape. Imagine yourself walking through the quiet corridors, observing the gentle rhythm of life as students move slowly to lectures, study, or reflection. Each day contributes to the subtle building of knowledge, experience, and quiet skill, forming a legacy that is less measured by fame or fortune and more by the steady accumulation of understanding, discipline, and reflective insight. Our scholar often pauses to contemplate the texts he studies. Manuscripts, copied carefully over countless hours, become companions in thought, their pages imbued with the patient attention of generations past. Imagine the scholar running his fingers over the faint impressions of ink, recalling the wisdom of authors long departed. In these moments, the past and present converge, connecting the student to a wider intellectual tradition. The act of reflection, slow and deliberate, encourages mindfulness, a gentle immersion into thought that soothes the mind while nurturing insight. Social ties, too, form part of this enduring legacy. Friendships made in cloisters, discussions held in lecture halls, and quiet companionship during meals all leave subtle imprints on the scholar's life. These relationships are calm, steady, and respectful, offering both intellectual stimulation and emotional support. Imagine sharing a quiet conversation with a peer under a softly lit archway, the warmth of camaraderie blending with the cool stone walls, the air carrying faint scents of parchment, herbs, and wood smoke. In these small moments, the scholar's life becomes enriched with gentle human connection, reinforcing the calming rhythm of daily existence. As years progress, mastery of subjects deepens, and the scholar begins to mentor younger students. This transfer of knowledge is quiet and measured, conducted in small gatherings or private discussions, with no fanfare or spectacle. Picture him guiding a student through the nuances of logic, pointing gently to passages in a manuscript, or demonstrating the careful structure of a philosophical argument. The act of teaching, subtle and deliberate, reinforces understanding for both teacher and pupil, creating a serene cycle of learning and reflection. Each lesson shared becomes part of the scholar's enduring influence, a legacy not of loud acclaim, but of patient guidance and intellectual continuity. Religious and ethical practices continue to frame the scholar's life. Daily prayers, devotional readings, and contemplative walks through gardens and cloisters maintain a sense of balance and moral perspective. Imagine him pausing beside a fountain, listening to the gentle flow of water, observing the slow movements of birds, and feeling the sun's soft warmth on stone and foliage. These meditative moments, repeated over time, cultivate calm and reinforce a sense of measured purpose. They remind the scholar, and us, that serenity is often found in the quiet interplay of routine, reflection, and attention to small details of the world around us. Occasionally, challenges arise in the form of difficult texts, demanding disputations, or modest living conditions, but they are experienced with patience rather than anxiety. Picture the scholar encountering a particularly complex treatise on theology or astronomy, pausing to consider its arguments, rereading passages by the gentle glow of candlelight, and gradually unfolding the logic and meaning contained within. Each small triumph, whether in understanding a text, successfully guiding a student, or completing a copied manuscript, becomes a quiet reward, a moment of introspective satisfaction that resonates softly with the mind and heart. In reflecting upon the scholar's life, it becomes clear that the richness lies not in dramatic events, but in the accumulation of small, deliberate, and thoughtful acts. The rhythm of study, reflection, companionship, and teaching forms a gentle pattern, almost like a lullaby carried across time. Imagine yourself seated in the scholar's chamber, the day's light fading softly through the window, the flicker of a candle illuminating carefully copied texts, and feeling the calm resonance of a life measured, purposeful, and immersed in the quiet pursuit of knowledge. The scholar's legacy is subtle yet enduring. The manuscripts he copied, the students he guided, the reflective routines he practiced, and the calm, structured rhythm of life he cultivated. These quiet contributions ripple forward, influencing generations beyond his own, a testament to the enduring power of patience, attention, and gentle dedication. Imagine these legacies as soft echoes of the past, touching the present with their measured calm and the reassurance that knowledge, care, and reflection persist across time. As night falls, the scholar retires to his chamber, the soft weight of a day fully lived settling upon him. Outside, the cloisters are silent, the town's distant murmurs faded, and the world itself seems to pause. Imagine yourself lying beside him in the calm of candlelight, the gentle aroma of parchment and ink lingering, the quiet reflection of the day softly guiding thoughts toward rest. The scholar's life, filled with steady rhythm, gentle triumphs, and reflective solitude, becomes a serene companion to your own journey toward sleep, a soft and immersive story of intellectual and spiritual quietude. As the scholar's daily life and intellectual endeavors unfold, we can turn our attention to the quieter, more mysterious aspects of medieval university culture. Imagine yourself wandering down shadowed stone corridors, past arched doorways and narrow staircases, into spaces where ordinary routines intersected with subtle mysteries, quiet curiosities, and traditions that have echoed through centuries. These hidden corners reveal the culture, superstitions, and small secrets of time long past, gently inviting the mind into calm reflection. Medieval universities were not only places of study, they were also communities with rituals, legends, and subtle social codes. Imagine the soft clatter of sandals against stone floors, the faint smell of ink and parchment mingling with candle smoke, and the occasional whispered story passed between students. Some tales were mundane, accounts of clever solutions to academic problems, while others hinted at ancient lore, rituals, or enigmatic customs inherited from earlier generations of scholars. These stories, shared quietly and respectfully, added texture to daily life, offering a gentle intrigue without demanding attention or excitement. One such aspect was the practice of examinations and disputations, steeped in ceremonial formality. Picture a scholar standing in a dim hall, students gathered around, and the professor speaking in measured tones. The room is hushed, the atmosphere both calm and expectant. The ritual of disputation was less about dramatic confrontation and more about measured intellectual rigor. Each argument, each question was framed carefully, and the outcomes were subtle. Insights gained, understanding deepened, connections made. Imagine the soft scratching of quills as observers take notes, the faint shuffle of robes, and the gentle echo of spoken Latin across stone walls. The intellectual tension is quiet and controlled, a meditation of reasoning rather than drama. Beyond formal academic practices, some spaces held layers of mystery in their architecture and artifacts. Imagine a library hidden behind a narrow doorway, its shelves stacked with vellum scrolls and bound manuscripts, the faint scent of age and ink heavy in the air. Perhaps a student discovers a small, carved figure tucked between texts, a remnant of a long-forgotten ritual, or a playful emblem left by predecessors. The significance is subtle. It is the quiet curiosity, the sense of connection to generations past, that captivates. The mind wanders gently among these artifacts, tracing the echoes of unseen hands and whispered traditions, a meditative journey through time. Even the design of university spaces carried meaning. Cloisters, gardens, and courtyards were arranged not only for practicality, but also for contemplation and reflection. Picture yourself walking along shaded paths, the faint fragrance of herbs in the air, sunlight filtering through arches, and the soft murmur of water in fountains. These spaces encouraged thoughtful observation, a quiet meditation on the interplay of nature, architecture, and human endeavor. Students would often pause here to consider both academic questions and life beyond the university, the gentle rhythm of movement and stillness fostering a sense of calm and introspection. Art and ornamentation also contributed to the culture. Illuminated manuscripts, small statues, and painted walls offered both aesthetic pleasure and subtle moral or scholarly guidance. Imagine examining a manuscript, its pages adorned with delicate illustrations in muted pigments, gold leaf glinting softly in candlelight. Each miniature tells a story, not in dramatic fashion, but with the soft elegance of craftsmanship, inviting contemplation and quiet enjoyment. Similarly, carved figures on beams or doorways hinted at humor, piety, or philosophical ideas, their presence a gentle whisper of human creativity echoing across the centuries. Occasionally, superstition mingled with scholarship. Students sometimes carried small charms, consulted omens, or observed particular customs believed to bring good fortune in exams or studies. Picture a small token tucked beneath a manuscript, the student's fingers brushing over it absent-mindedly as they copy a passage. These habits, though rooted in belief, are gentle and unobtrusive, offering a sense of connection and ritual without excitement or fear. They contribute to the atmosphere of a university, where structure, contemplation, and quiet tradition coexist seamlessly. In this quieter, more mysterious realm of medieval university life, culture and curiosity intertwine. The spaces, artifacts, and small rituals all carry layers of meaning, subtle yet immersive. Imagine tracing the paths of students long past, feeling the rough texture of stone, inhaling the faint scent of aged parchment and ink, and listening to the soft echo of voices across shadowed halls. These mysteries are gentle, never urgent, inviting the mind to wander calmly and the imagination to explore softly, like a slow, meditative stroll through history. In reflecting upon these hidden corners, we see that medieval universities were more than classrooms and study halls. They were living communities rich with small, deliberate patterns, quiet stories, and subtle cultural markers that shaped daily life and nurtured both intellect and reflection. Imagine walking through a cloistered courtyard at sunset, the faint smell of herbs and candle smoke mingling with the cool evening air, your footsteps echoing softly on stone paths, and the gentle presence of history wrapping around you. In these spaces, curiosity and calm coexist, inviting your thoughts to drift gently, your mind to settle, and your imagination to immerse fully in the subtle mysteries of a distant time. As we continue to explore the quieter mysteries of medieval university life, it becomes clear that culture and tradition permeated every aspect of the student's experience. Imagine yourself walking slowly through a cloister, the stone arches softening the light of late afternoon, and noticing the small details that shaped daily routines. These subtle markers, rituals, ceremonies, and inherited customs, offered structure and comfort, forming a gentle undercurrent beneath the scholarly life. The influence of tradition was particularly evident in the ceremonial practices surrounding examinations and graduations. Imagine a student standing quietly in a hall, the faint murmur of peers in the background, the soft rustle of robes against stone floors as professors moved deliberately through their duties. These events were measured and deliberate, emphasizing formality and precision rather than spectacle. The quiet repetition of ritual from bowing at the appropriate moment to reciting prescribed phrases, provided a reassuring rhythm, a sense of continuity that tied each student to generations past. The careful structure of such ceremonies created a subtle meditative quality, a sense of order and calm that pervaded both the mind and the surroundings. Art and ornamentation within the university further shaped cultural experience. Illuminated manuscripts, delicate carvings, and painted embellishments encouraged reflection and subtle delight. Picture a student leafing through a manuscript, its margins filled with intricate floral patterns, minute human figures, or tiny allegorical scenes. The details are not loud or dramatic. They are quiet invitations to linger, observe, and reflect. Each miniature serves as a reminder of human creativity and care, gently reinforcing a sense of continuity and connection to the generations who came before. In this way, the aesthetic dimension of medieval life provided a calm, immersive layer to daily routines. Even food and dining were infused with cultural significance. Meals followed specific customs, with attention to order, seating, and the sharing of modest fare. Imagine students gathering for supper in a hall lit by flickering candles, long wooden tables echoing softly with the gentle murmur of voices. The careful placement of dishes, the simple etiquette, and the quiet conversation fostered an atmosphere of deliberate rhythm and gentle social bonding. These small rituals, repeated day after day, became comforting markers, supporting a sense of community and reinforcing the subtle, measured pace of life. Music also contributed to the university's cultural fabric. Gregorian chants, simple instrumental melodies, and soft songs punctuated religious ceremonies, study periods, or moments of quiet reflection. Imagine standing in the shadowed arches of a chapel, hearing the harmonious rise and fall of voices, the gentle echo bouncing across stone walls. The effect is meditative rather than rousing, a steady accompaniment to thought and contemplation. In this calm environment, students experienced both intellectual stimulation and emotional equilibrium, a quiet immersion in sound and rhythm that encouraged mental rest and reflective engagement. Superstitions and minor rituals occasionally infused everyday life with gentle intrigue. Small charms, tokens, or symbolic gestures were believed to provide subtle protection or luck. Imagine a student adjusting a small talisman tucked beneath a manuscript or pausing to nod at a carved figure in the cloister. These actions, though modest and understated, reinforced cultural continuity and offered small, personal moments of reassurance. They were part of a gentle social fabric, shaping interactions and habits in ways that were comforting, meditative, and entirely consistent with the measured pace of academic life. Architecture itself reinforced cultural and contemplative practices. Courtyards, gardens, and cloisters provided spaces for reflection, allowing students to move at a slow, deliberate pace while observing the interplay of sunlight, stone, and vegetation. Imagine walking through a courtyard, the cool breeze carrying the faint scent of herbs, the sound of water trickling softly in a fountain, and the quiet footsteps of peers echoing gently across paved paths. The physical environment encouraged calm, thoughtful movement, offering a sensory rhythm that mirrored the intellectual and emotional cadence of the university. Through these subtle threads, ritual, art, music, superstition, architecture, and social custom, the culture of medieval universities shaped daily life in ways that were immersive yet gentle. There was no urgency, no dramatic climax, only the steady, patient unfolding of tradition and reflection. Imagine yourself moving quietly through these spaces, observing the delicate interplay of light and shadow, sound and scent, texture and movement, and feeling the serene rhythm of human activity as it echoes across centuries. In the end, the subtle influence of culture and tradition creates a rich, meditative layer atop the more visible aspects of study and scholarship. Each ritual, token, melody, and architectural detail contributes to a calm, immersive environment, a space in which the mind can wander freely, reflect gently, and absorb the quiet beauty of a world shaped by thoughtful care. As you imagine walking these cloisters, examining these manuscripts, and listening to these chants, the past unfolds softly around you, inviting the mind to relax, the body to settle, and sleep to approach gently and without rush. In the quiet corners of medieval universities, hidden treasures and forgotten knowledge waited patiently, preserved in manuscripts, artifacts, and the minds of devoted scholars. Imagine yourself entering a dimly lit scriptorium, where the faint aroma of parchment and ink mingles with the soft warmth of candlelight. Here, centuries-old texts lie stacked carefully, each a silent witness to the passage of time, each containing secrets, observations, or insights that were once only whispered among scholars. The very air seems thick with memory, and stepping into such a space is like touching the past gently, without hurry, without noise. Some manuscripts contained unusual subjects, explorations of natural philosophy, astrology, or medicine, written with careful precision and subtle illustrations. Imagine tracing your fingers lightly over vellum pages, noticing the delicate ink sketches of stars, herbs, or anatomical diagrams, all rendered with quiet skill. These works reveal the inquisitiveness of medieval scholars, their slow, patient attempts to comprehend the world around them. In this act of discovery, you feel a gentle connection across time, as though the hands that wrote these pages are guiding yours with soft intent, inviting reflection and calm curiosity. Occasionally, students or masters uncovered older texts, fragments of classical works, or regional manuscripts preserved in corners of the library. Picture a scholar carefully unrolling a worn scroll, the edges frayed yet still readable, and realizing that these words had survived centuries, sheltered from neglect. The excitement here is subtle, not dramatic, manifesting as quiet satisfaction and contemplative delight. Each discovery invites measured attention, careful transcription, and reflective study. The process itself is immersive and calming, like turning the pages of history at a gentle, deliberate pace. Archaeological remnants also tell a story of the broader world in which medieval universities existed. Imagine a student examining a small artifact unearthed near the town, a fragment of pottery, a metal clasp, or a worn coin. Though simple, each object connects the scholar to the rhythms of daily life, commerce, and culture beyond the cloisters and lecture halls. The faint texture of the object under fingertips, the weight of time embedded in its surface, the soft echo of human hands long gone. All of these details create a subtle, immersive meditation on continuity, endurance, and history's quiet persistence. The study of astronomy and natural science added another layer of gentle mystery. Picture a scholar observing the night sky from a quiet rooftop or an open courtyard, tracing constellations with his eyes, noting the movements of planets in soft, meticulous calculations. The stars, constant yet ever-changing, offer a calming reminder of the broader cosmos and its rhythms. The quiet patience required to track celestial movements parallels the contemplative, measured pace of life within the university itself. Night after night, students would trace these patterns, feeling the gentle reassurance of order, the soft echo of nature's cycles, and the tranquility of a mind aligned with time and space. Occasionally, the texts and artifacts contained strange or whimsical elements, marginalia in manuscripts, peculiar sketches, or playful carvings in cloisters. Imagine a small cat sketched in the margin of a Latin text, or a carved figure peeking from the corner of a wooden beam. These details, subtle and often overlooked, add texture and character to daily life, a quiet delight for attentive eyes. They remind us that even in a world devoted to rigorous study and solemn reflection, small moments of creativity and humor persisted, gently enriching the atmosphere. The hidden knowledge preserved in manuscripts and artifacts forms a delicate bridge between centuries. Imagine the scholar sitting by candlelight, reading a fragment of classical philosophy or an early scientific observation, feeling the slow accumulation of insight and the quiet continuity of human curiosity. These treasures, though unassuming, offer a sense of calm reflection, as if time itself is speaking softly, allowing the mind to wander, ponder, and immerse itself in the meditative rhythm of discovery. In the end, these discoveries, whether textual, material, or astronomical, invite both scholars and us, the listeners, to experience history in a gentle, contemplative manner. The treasures are not dramatic, the insights not urgent. Rather, they unfold slowly, offering immersive sensory details, soft intrigue, and subtle reflection. Imagine the quiet scratch of quill on parchment, the soft flicker of candlelight across manuscripts, the faint scent of old books, the cool air of cloister gardens, and the faint hum of distant voices, all combining into a calm, enveloping narrative of discovery and quiet wonder. Through these hidden corners, unearthed treasures, and forgotten knowledge, medieval universities emerge as spaces where curiosity and reflection coexist in gentle harmony. The mind is invited to wander, the senses to absorb subtle textures, and the imagination to explore softly, immersing in a serene rhythm that mirrors the meditative flow of history itself. Imagine walking slowly through these ancient spaces, feeling the tactile connection to past lives, and allowing your thoughts to drift, guided by the soft, enduring whispers of knowledge preserved through centuries. While the noble student experiences life with comfort and access, the daily rhythm of common students offers a quiet contrast, one shaped by modest means, shared accommodations, and simpler routines. Imagine yourself stepping into a stone dormitory, the air cool and slightly damp, the faint scent of straw mattresses and ink lingering. Light filters softly through narrow windows, casting gentle shadows across rough wooden desks and benches. Here, the pace of life is measured not by luxury, but by necessity, requiring resourcefulness, patience, and quiet endurance. The morning begins earlier than for the elite, often accompanied by the soft sounds of a communal bell or the quiet stirrings of fellow students. Imagine waking in a small chamber shared with others, the straw mattress firm beneath you, a single blanket offering modest warmth. Breakfast is simple: coarse bread, perhaps a bit of cheese, and water or weak ale. There is no rush, but the body and mind are conditioned to rise with discipline, to move methodically through the routines that sustain daily life. Even in modest surroundings, there is rhythm, and that rhythm cultivates resilience and a gentle attentiveness to daily necessities. Lectures are often conducted in larger, more crowded halls. Imagine students seated closely together on wooden benches, quills, and wax tablets at the ready, listening to a professor's calm, deliberate explanations. The air is slightly warmer here, the scent of parchment, ink, an occasional candle, smoke mingling with the quiet rustle of robes. Despite limited personal space, the atmosphere encourages focus, patience, and shared learning. The rhythm of collective study, though different from the private tutoring enjoyed by nobles, offers a unique sense of communal effort and subtle support, a shared immersion in scholarship that is both humbling and meditative. Assignments and memorization exercises dominate much of the common student's day. Imagine bending over a rough desk, while tracing carefully formed letters, repeating passages softly to commit them to memory. This repetitive practice, while challenging, offers a quiet, almost meditative cadence. Each successfully copied passage, each carefully memorized line, becomes a small triumph, a reward that sustains both concentration and calm. The modest circumstances amplify the sense of accomplishment, making even minor successes meaningful in a softly measured way. Meals, too, are more utilitarian but maintain a subtle social rhythm. Imagine a small refectory, long wooden tables echoing with muted conversation, simple fare laid out methodically. Students share what little they have, exchanging morsels, advice, or quiet commentary on lessons. These meals, though humble, carry the gentle reassurance of communal life, providing warmth, sustenance, and a structured pause in the day's labors. The environment encourages patience, reflection, and subtle interpersonal connections, softening the hardships of shared modesty. Physical movement and chores punctuate study periods. Imagine walking along stone corridors to fetch water or tending to small gardens or stables. The cool air brushing against the skin, the faint scent of earth and herbs. These activities provide moments of physical rhythm, a chance for the body to move deliberately while the mind absorbs ideas or reflects on lessons. Even menial tasks, when approached with awareness, become gentle exercises in patience, mindfulness, and quiet satisfaction, mirroring the contemplative pace of study. Despite contrasts in material comfort, there are shared elements between noble and common students. Both rise with the sun, engage in study, practice reflection, and observe rituals of prayer or quiet contemplation. Imagine students from different backgrounds walking through a cloistered courtyard at dusk, the lights soft on stone, the air carrying faint fragrances of herbs and ink, and the gentle echo of footsteps. Both groups are connected by the steady rhythm of learning, the immersive presence of manuscripts, and the calm structure of medieval academic life. By evening, common students often return to their chambers for private reflection or study, the glow of a single candle illuminating worn parchment and careful notes. Imagine sitting in quiet concentration, absorbing lessons, rehearsing passages, and observing the soft shadows cast by flickering light. The day's rhythm, structured, deliberate, and immersive, offers both discipline and a gentle sense of accomplishment. Here, as in the noble chambers, the mind is guided toward calm reflection, the body toward rest, and the spirit toward measured understanding. Through these contrasts, we see the diversity of medieval university life, the privileged ease of noble students, and the modest, disciplined routines of their peers. Yet despite differences in wealth, comfort, and opportunity, both groups share a meditative engagement with learning, reflection, and daily ritual. Imagine observing these parallel lives, the stone halls and cloisters unifying them with their quiet echoes, and allowing your mind to absorb the gentle rhythms, subtle textures, and serene patterns that define this world. The interplay of contrast and commonality creates a layered, immersive environment, rich in calm, subtlety, and contemplative reflection, guiding both the scholar of the past and the listener of the present toward quiet meditation and rest. While the cloisters and lecture halls reveal the life of the typical medieval scholar, the world of the elite student presents a contrasting rhythm, one shaped by privilege, wealth, and access to luxuries and opportunities unavailable to most. Imagine yourself stepping into a spacious chamber with high windows that allow sunlight to pour over tapestries, polished wooden furniture, and a neatly arranged desk with multiple manuscripts. The air carries faint aromas of beeswax from candles and herbs from a nearby garden, providing a subtle, comforting fragrance. Here, the rhythm of life is deliberate, calm, and cushioned, yet equally guided by study and contemplation. Morning begins gently. The noble student rises from soft bedding, adorned with blankets and cushions, stretching leisurely as sunlight illuminates the room. A servant quietly lays out a modest but refined breakfast, bread baked from carefully sifted flour, a small portion of cheese, and a cup of spiced wine or milk. Imagine the warmth of the meal, the faint scent of herbs, and the gentle murmur of attendants moving quietly through the chamber, their steps muted on wooden floors. The environment, unlike the stone dormitories of ordinary students, offers comfort, yet the pace remains measured, intended to align both body and mind for the day ahead. Lessons often begin with private tutors rather than crowded lecture halls. Imagine a scholar tutor seated across from the student, parchment and quill in hand, guiding the young noble through Latin grammar, arithmetic, or rhetoric. The tutor speaks softly, clearly, and patiently, repeating explanations as needed. There is no rush. Each concept is absorbed in a quiet, immersive manner, the slow cadence of instruction allowing comprehension and reflection to deepen. The atmosphere is gentle, supportive, and intellectually calming, a contrast to the occasional pressures of examinations faced by the general student body. Despite privilege, the noble student faces his own subtle challenges. The weight of expectation, familial, social, or religious, shapes study and behavior. Imagine him pausing in a sunlit garden, considering lessons while observing meticulously tended plants and fountains. The calm of nature provides space for reflection, yet also serves as a reminder of responsibilities, inherited wealth, and the need to navigate social etiquette with care. These pressures are less about survival and more about measured success, fostering a disciplined and contemplative approach to life that mirrors the mental rigor of scholarly study. Meals, social interaction, and leisure are conducted with refinement. Picture a mid-morning repast in a small hall, attended by peers or family members, the faint murmur of conversation harmonizing with the soft clink of utensils on polished wooden plates. Food is carefully prepared, often enriched with subtle flavors, herbs, honey, or spiced bread, yet eaten slowly with mindfulness. The rhythm of eating, conversation, and gentle social ritual reinforces a measured, contemplative pace, allowing both body and mind to align with the gentle cadence of daily life. Physical activity complements intellectual pursuits. Imagine walking through a private garden, observing fountains, flowering shrubs, or a small aviary with birds that chirp softly in the sunlight. The noble student may also engage in supervised exercises, gentle riding, archery, or fencing, designed less for strenuous exertion and more for refinement of skill, control, and focus. Each action is deliberate, measured, and purposeful, cultivating both grace and attention. The environment encourages observation, careful thought, and a slow, deliberate engagement with the senses. Evening brings reflection and private study. Imagine candlelight flickering softly across manuscript pages, the scent of beeswax mingling with faint traces of parchment ink. The noble student reviews lessons from the day, copies texts, or reads philosophical treatises. The pace is tranquil, unhurried, and immersive, inviting the mind to absorb ideas gently rather than rush toward conclusions. Small rituals, closing the window shutters against the cool night air, tidying writing materials, or offering brief prayers, mark transitions between activities, reinforcing structure and calm. In contrast to the life of a general scholar, the noble student's environment combines comfort, subtle social expectation, and intellectual pursuit in a harmonious rhythm. There is privilege, yes, but also discipline, reflection, and quiet achievement. Imagine yourself seated nearby, the soft glow of candles reflecting off polished wooden desks, the faint whisper of wind through open windows, the subtle aroma of ink and herbs, and the gentle cadence of conversation or private reading. The experience is immersive, serene, and soothing, a different but equally contemplative expression of medieval education. Through this lens, we see how social class shaped daily life, not merely in material comfort, but in rhythm, expectations, and opportunities for reflection. Both the elite and the general student pursued knowledge, yet the contours of their days differed, offering us insight into the diversity of medieval educational culture. Imagine tracing the steps of the noble student through gardens, private chambers, and study halls, feeling the gentle texture of fine fabrics, the soft echo of voices, and the measured unfolding of a day designed to cultivate intellect, refinement, and quiet contemplation. As the day draws to a close, both noble and common students retreat to their respective chambers or dormitories, yet the rhythm of life remains gentle and deliberate, carrying the subtle echo of centuries of tradition. Imagine yourself walking through the quiet stone corridors, the fading light of evening casting soft shadows across arched doorways, wooden doors, and worn staircases. The sounds of the day, the shuffling of robes, the soft murmur of voices, the distant clink of utensils, fade gradually, replaced by a contemplative stillness that permeates the cloisters, chambers, and gardens alike. Evening routines are understated yet immersive. For the noble student, soft candlelight illuminates polished desks, manuscripts carefully laid out for reflection, and private notes recording the day's lessons. A gentle aroma of herbs, ink, and beeswax lingers in the air, subtly grounding the mind. Imagine the student reviewing lessons in quiet concentration, repeating Latin phrases, tracing geometrical diagrams, or copying passages of philosophy with calm, deliberate movements. Each action carries both purpose and meditation, forming a rhythmic cadence that invites serenity. For the common student, the evening is more modest, yet equally structured. A single candle or small oil lamp casts flickering light across rough wooden desks, parchment, and ink-stained fingers. The soft rustle of robes and occasional coughs are the only interruptions to study and reflection. Imagine a student quietly revising memorized passages, tracing carefully written lines, and absorbing lessons in a gentle, immersive rhythm. The simplicity of the environment enhances attentiveness, the disciplined repetition providing both focus and comfort, a quiet meditation on the day's intellectual and practical pursuits. Small rituals accompany these routines, uniting students of different classes through shared rhythms. Evening prayers, contemplative walks in cloister gardens, or silent reflection in study halls offer structure and calm. Picture both noble and common students pausing by a fountain, listening to the gentle murmur of water, inhaling the soft scents of herbs and flowers, and observing the interplay of fading sunlight and long shadows. These moments, though subtle, provide grounding, a gentle awareness of the body, the senses, and the rhythm of time itself. Leisure is understated yet meaningful. Some students quietly discuss texts or ideas with peers, exchanging soft insights without urgency or excitement. Others may write personal reflections, note observations about nature, or simply sit in meditative silence, allowing their thoughts to drift freely. Imagine the soft exchange of ideas in low tones, the delicate scratch of quill against parchment, the calm sway of candle flames, each sound and motion reinforcing the gentle flow of evening life. The interplay between study, reflection, and communal presence deepens with nightfall. Imagine cloisters bathed in the silver glow of moonlight, students moving slowly along stone paths, the cool night air mingling with the faint warmth of lamps in side chambers. The contrast between the quiet activity indoors and the stillness outdoors creates a layered sense of calm, the mind gently following the rhythm of movement, sound, and sensory details. Night itself becomes a companion to study and reflection, a soft, immersive partner in the quiet unfolding of medieval life. Even the act of retiring to sleep is ritualized and serene. Picture students settling onto straw or feather-filled mattresses, adjusting simple blankets, offering brief prayers, or setting manuscripts aside for the night. The final moments of consciousness are filled with tactile, gentle details. The softness of bedding, the faint coolness of stone walls, the muted glow of distant lamps. Both noble and common students experience a similar transition, moving from structured, contemplative activity into the gentle embrace of rest. The day's rhythm, measured and deliberate, carries forward into dreams, offering continuity, reassurance, and subtle reflection. Through these evening reflections, the contrasts and commonalities between students become more apparent. Privilege shapes comfort and resources, yet discipline, reflection, and intellectual curiosity remain shared threads. The steady cadence of study, meals, rituals, and quiet observation unites all members of the university in a gentle, immersive rhythm. Imagine yourself witnessing these parallel lives, the soft echoes of footsteps, murmured Latin phrases, flickering candlelight, and the interplay of shadow and stone. The past becomes tangible, not in spectacle or excitement, but in measured, contemplative detail. Ultimately, the rhythm of medieval university life, across all social strata, offers a subtle meditation on human curiosity, social structure, and the enduring pursuit of knowledge. Imagine lying down in your own quiet space, feeling the echoes of these centuries-old routines ripple gently into your mind, the structured yet gentle pace of life guiding your thoughts toward calm reflection, and the soft, immersive patterns of study, ritual, and evening repose helping to ease both mind and body into a state of gentle rest. As our journey through the quiet corridors, gardens, and chambers of medieval universities comes to a close, take a moment to let your mind rest in the calm echoes of centuries past. Imagine the soft flicker of candlelight casting gentle shadows across manuscripts, the faint scent of ink and aged parchment still lingering in the air, and the muted murmur of distant voices slowly fading into silence. This is a world where knowledge, curiosity, and quiet reflection intertwined with daily life in a rhythm both deliberate and soothing. Through the lives of ordinary scholars and noble students alike, we've glimpsed the varied textures of medieval education, the rigorous yet meditative study, the carefully measured rituals, and the subtle customs that shaped a day, a year, and indeed, a lifetime of learning. We've wandered down cloisters, studied illuminated manuscripts, observed stars from quiet courtyards, and traced the steps of students moving through gardens, libraries, and refectories. Each moment, each detail, invites the mind to wander gently, allowing history to unfold softly and peacefully around us. Reflecting on these centuries-old rhythms, there's a subtle lesson that transcends time. The gentle patience, the measured effort, and the immersive observation that shape the pursuit of knowledge then can guide our own minds toward calm, quiet thought today. Imagine the soft rhythm of footsteps on stone, the muted rustle of robes, the faint murmurs of Latin and scholarly conversation, blending with the distant sigh of evening wind through arches. In these images, the past and present meet in a gentle, comforting cadence, a meditation on learning, reflection, and the enduring human desire to understand the world. As we leave the halls and gardens of medieval universities behind, allow yourself to feel a sense of continuity and calm. The stone walls, cloisters, and manuscripts are now silent, yet their rhythms linger in your mind, offering reassurance, quiet curiosity, and the gentle unfolding of thought. Imagine the final flicker of candlelight, the slow closing of a heavy wooden door, and the soft sigh of a day complete, guiding you toward rest, reflection, and sleep. If you found comfort in this gentle journey through history, feel free to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let me know where you're listening from, or perhaps what moment in this tranquil exploration resonated most. It is strangely comforting to know that others are falling asleep to these same whispers of the past, wrapped in the calm embrace of boring history for sleep. Let the echoes of medieval halls linger softly in your mind, the lessons of patience and reflection guiding you gently toward rest. Close your eyes, imagine the soft flicker of candlelight, the cool shadows of cloisters, the quiet footsteps of students long gone, and allow yourself to drift into sleep. History, in its measured and gentle unfolding, becomes a lullaby, a soft, immersive journey from curiosity to contemplation, from reflection to rest. Good night, and may the calm of these centuries guide your dreams gently and peacefully.